that is of value to all of us. And
Mhm.
it's important to learn how to do things correctly so we can help each other.
Well, Dennis, just so everyone knows, Dennis has gone live and talked about his story on here, and I've seen you and I've come in and said hello. But yes, it is so true to make sure, and that's why this is fun to do this here, to make sure that you're engaging with your people that are in your chat. And so I think you're a natural. I want to let you know that, Dennis, when you were on and you were talking about your journey, you're a natural on the screen. So keep up the good work. But yes, when you go live, just look down. The other thing I want to tell you really quick before we start interviewing you, Dennis, is when you're on your live,
Yeah.
there's a way, and I don't know if you do this, you swipe your screen to the right, I believe, and it brings up all of the comments really large on your screen.
That is something so important because I'm like
Yes.
this trying to
Right.
read and you lose your engagement. So
Absolutely.
the eyes versus the attention. Oh, okay. So
Yes.
swipe either left or
So
right.
that's correct. And so it's lightly you swipe and then it'll all come up. So you don't see yourself anymore, right? But what you do is you see the comments and it'll help you to keep talking, telling your story, but then being able to see everything and engage in real time without losing, sometimes like if it's fast, the comments will spiral up really quickly. So you kind of have to do this a little bit, but a lot easier than just trying to read the fine print at the bottom and that kind of thing.
That's me.
So
I'm like this. So I figured, let me
yeah,
just tell my story because you have three, I think 30-minute, kind of like an
yeah,
introduction live.
right.
And so this week I wanted to say I'm ready, but I don't have the skill to focus on both at the same time. I'll be dyslexic or like,
Yeah. And it takes time. I mean, you're not the only one. We're all like that for sure. But again, remind me when you go live because then I can come in the chat and remind you, hey, swipe this way, do this. We'll do a little test run and that way it'll be helpful.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I find in this community. I mean, ever since I started, and I was on TikTok for a year or so, I was going to go into digital marketing,
Mm-hmm.
but my wife hates TikTok. She's Chinese.
Yeah.
So everything is like, I don't trust it. You're going to
Yeah.
lose money. And she broadcast to all my relatives what a stupid choice I'm making. So I laid low for a year. But in that year, I had myself a TIA stroke. I had skin cancer. And I mean, I was so messed up on a medical situation. I'm stage 4 chronic kidney disease.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, in August, my doctor got me on a Eli Lilly GLP-3 test. I had no idea what a GLP was, or I said, sign me up.
Yeah.
And oh my God. I mean, when my first month, I lost so much weight, I was afraid that they were going to take me off the test. So I was trying to minimize
Yeah.
my weight loss. And it's been 6 months, I'm on maintenance level, nothing but success, no food noise from day one, no problems. It was too easy. So I got back involved in TikTok. I found so many people who are going through the journey. And I said, I'm 66 years old.
Yeah.
Everybody else is young and beautiful like you. So maybe I could add to the senior citizen viewpoint and the medical dangers and how much GLP has really given me a second lease on life.
Oh, absolutely. You are more than welcome here and more than needed. Absolutely. One big happy fat family, as I say, Dennis.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, let's go back. Let's go back a little bit.
Sure.
So if you want, talk about your chronic, situation that you've had before you decided to go on this study. It could be, your issues with your cancer and your kidneys and all of that. And then talk about, if you don't mind, the weight or where you were, how heavy you were, and then talk about the study. So let's just start from the beginning and work up like you're just talking on your own life.
So basically, my first 18 years, I was Joe Athletic, playing all the sports, moving around, in fine shape. Right after high school, I got a job at a local fast food place. And I mean, we weren't well off. So all this free food for lunch, boy, did I take advantage. I was the cook. I made great food. And within a year, boom,
Yeah.
60 pounds. I became a flabby weight. And then I got myself an office job. So you're just sitting down and the weight didn't come off. I got used to it. I kept on eating, kept on growing. I ended up going up to 275. I wasn't losing weight. And the years of having that weight and eating whatever I wanted led me to diabetes. I was a diabetic for 25 years. I finally started to wake up because I was ruining the kidneys with all that medication. I had a fatty liver. So I adjusted. I changed my food diet. I fixed my liver. I did cleanses on my liver, my kidneys, my adrenals. But by that time, the damage was done. I had neuropathy in the feet around 2000. I finally started to wean myself off of that. I got off of being diabetic. I was a pre-diabetic, but the damage with the neuropathy and then the kidney started going, and I slowly got chronic kidney disease. So my doctor finally put me on these available for medical tests. And so that gave me the key to start to improve. And then I found out what GLP came along. So I was nominated for one of those tests. And I joined without really knowing or understanding anything. So in August,
And
I
that
went,
was that retatrutide?
yes,
Okay.
tripepside.
Oh, are you talking about terzepatide?
Yes,
Okay.
Monjaro.
Okay.
Yes. And I started with the 2.5, and they put me up every month to like, I went as high as 12, but it was too much. Oh my goodness. I mean, I'd almost vomit, and it was too strong. So I went back down to 9, then 6, and I mean, it's a piece of cake. Good.
So yeah, pun intended. Let's do that. So how much were you when you started, and how did that go with the weight and all of that?
So I started officially. I was 208. My first week, I went up to 215. I wasn't used to it, but then, oh boy, the no food noise. I wasn't hungry at all. I would still open the refrigerator 10 times a day, but this time I'd be, not hungry. I would. It was to be. I'd have my good breakfast, eggs, bacon, and everything. But the rest of the day was having that adjustment because I wasn't hungry. It took longer to digest. So I realized that if I had another big meal, especially spicy food, which I love, but it would come back up. So it was an adjustment. And now I could eat 3 meals a day wisely, but by just being a little bit more careful in what I was eating, focusing on protein, which unfortunately having chronic kidney disease, I slowly was stage 2, stage 3, and that's found by having protein in the urine. Didn't understand it. The doctor would tell me, but didn't tell me the why, the how can I stop, how can I change. So I literally had to be on my own, doing my own research, but I gained more information going back on TikTok. And that's when I found out about the GLP community. And I've never met such a group of willingness to share their information, to share their experiences, and then doctors finding medical information. Obesity is a disease. I went decades blaming myself like all of us have. It's my fault. Yes, I'm doing. No, it's not. And this is the information that we need to get to all the other friends out there. And that's why I said, I want to take proactive. Now I've lost so much weight. I'm healthy again. There's no way I want to stop helping others now. Yeah.
Same, Dennis. I think we're twins.
Yeah, I think all in the GLP community, or those who are wondering, because I had heard of, and I'm terrible with names. Since my stroke, I can't remember it, but Olga, and I'm thinking about the advertisement, Olgavi, Ozempic.
Okay.
And you would hear these stories, oh, it has this kind of background, it has this kind of problem. And I'm saying, not if you do it right, not if you pay attention. So there really is a need for us to tell the truth, to tell you have to do it the right way. You can't go on a GLP-1 drug like a diet and say, oh, I'll do this for a month or 2 or 3, and then I'll go back. No, there's no going back. And that was the real key, which I want to help others to see. We don't go back. We change for the future.
Absolutely. When you were put on this trial, was it specifically for your diabetes, kidney issues? Is that why they picked you to do this? And if that's the case, let me know in your like how it helped you. Like when people are watching this and they have maybe those that condition, how it helped you.
It was kind of funny because when I started, I'm in New York City, and I went to NYU. They have an incredible detailed unit for weight loss. But my doctors were describing, because I was chosen because of my chronic kidney disease. So they were focusing on that aspect, and also helping the heart, because when you've been overweight for so long, you're doing damage to your heart. You're really making that furnace go crazy. Hey, 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 thank you so much for the hat.
Isn't that fun?
And that's what it is. It's gift giving, it's appreciation, because we're gaining solid knowledge. So I came not from like Jamie Seltzer, 600, 700 pounds, which blows my mind. I was 275.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was big, but it was the medical aspect that I came in. And so that's what my doctors were there to help me. And they said, oh, by the way, you'll probably lose about 20% of your weight. And I'm like, hey, what a great side benefit.
Yeah.
Now 60 plus pounds more gone. It's like, I have a whole new lease on life. So GLP medications help every aspect of your health.
Absolutely. Can you talk more, if you don't mind, in detail about what the doctor said, how you feel when it comes to your kidney and heart? Like, do you have the numbers? Do you have any insight into what that actually did to help with those situations?
Well, thankfully, first I'm Irish. I have that gift of gab, yak, yak, yak. But the doctors, not only was I given the medication for once a week, and being diabetic, I was used to the pen. So that was no problem at all. But they follow up with the nutrition aspect. So they focused on the protein amount and also what I was eating each day. And they really gave me great guidelines on how to build a 3 meal a day food plan, what to watch out for. I liked yogurt. They made me fall in love with it. And all the things that, to protein build while still being aware of my kidney situation. So they were really on point with giving me not a specific diet, but the amino acids, the correct amount of fat, protein, nutrition. So they gave me a great way to really get the reasons, the why behind the medication. And every week I was there, they led me hand by hand. Instead of like a regular general practitioner doctor, here, do this, take more medication, take more. No, it was the GLP was the only medication. I was able to get off all the other medications, from high blood pressure, from diabetic medication, from all these drug world stuff, and just the GLP. But they gave me the guidelines and the information. This is what you should eat and why. And they helped me with activities to build up to, you want to use weight loss mechanics, whether it's a rebounder for adrenal glands, whether it's exercise bike, things around the house that have helped tremendously So to change the lifestyle, and I went from a food nut and everything like that to really having a conscientious idea. Oh, okay, I should eat this. I should not. I'm not a snack person, although, before it was mandatory. But so I was able to focus. They led me in a knowledge quest. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what our community is. It's gaining the knowledge to do things right. Clint Sparks with his
Mm-hmm.
daily walk-in and his exercise.
Right?
That man is unbelievable, nonstop. And what I really appreciate is many in the community, we hit those plateaus. We sometimes do things right and we gain weight for the week. But
Mm-hmm.
from having that one-to-one knowledge and accepting that, but continuing on,
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes this journey unbelievable joy. And to know I'm not alone anymore. I don't have people, oh, it's your fault. No, I have hundreds of friends now saying, hey, we're going to make it through this. And like
Mm-hmm.
you, I find so much inspiration from your talk, your encouragement. And we can all see the past pictures. I love putting on my clothes and watching them fall off.
Hey-oh. Dennis, be careful. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's
but my shirts, I was telling somebody, I still have my double X, my
yeah.
X, my large, and I want to go to a party and wear one on top of the other and take it off each one every hour and say, look at me, look at what I was, look at what I am.
What kind of parties are this, Dennis? I'm kidding. No, it's so true. It's so true. Like, it's exciting, isn't it? And that's what this is all about. This community, this support, letting you know you're not alone, you're not a failure. Like I always say, you're a fighter. Um, Dennis, I just want to say, like, I just so appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey. It's definitely infectious, right? Um, I want you to bring out something when it comes to being an older person, like we talked about on these medications, when you feel like that's kind of lacking. How do you feel? I want you to tell us how you feel. You know, a lot of times people who think maybe they're older, they shouldn't do this, or if they're doing this, it doesn't matter anymore because we're old and we just, blah. Like, tell us how you feel and how this has changed your life being someone who's a little bit older.
One of the biggest things is when I'm with people in my 70s, 80s, and older, and you see them with the cane, you see them with the walker. I've had friends who I've known for decades, but now they're using a walker. Now they're hunched over when they walk or they stand. And being overweight and having my medical problems, I was looking at my friends and thinking, that's my future. And it scared me to death
Yeah.
because I want to live. It's funny, but we all think we're still 20, we're still 30. It's finally springtime in New York. It's getting to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm looking for my baseball glove. And man, if I went out for 15 minutes, I'd probably be in the hospital for a week. We don't see ourselves as being older. We really feel like we're in our 20s and 30s. And now that I've lost this weight, I want to grab my glove and I want to go for a pickup game. And
Yeah.
I have to mentally check, no, I can't do that anymore.
So what
But
can you do?
oh, the first thing and the most important thing, like Clint Sparks, just walk.
Hmm.
Just walk. I do about 10 miles a day now. I walk about 5 miles in the morning. I walk 5 miles in the afternoon. New York City is a really crowded place to be. So I find a park or something, and I just make a route. And so I stay away from people, and I just in a nice quiet area, and I do my walking. And that's been the biggest number one thing because you don't need any kind of physical ability
Hmm.
except being able to stand on your feet. And when you're 500 or plus pounds, that's rough. But
Yeah.
that got me from being upper 200s down to low 200s. Now I bought myself some resistance bands. That's a great help. Now you're doing physical exercise. So even during the winter, focusing on home style workouts was very important because it kept me moving. And now that spring is here, I'm getting new sneakers and I'm getting out there, going back to my walking. So simple exercises really help us to regain our youth. Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely. I can't that is my number one thing that I try to encourage people to do is movement. Not necessarily major exercise, but just moving your body, standing up after sitting for so long, moving around, walking outside with that fresh air, because there's that correlation to the brain of where you start to feel better about yourself and you get excited. That movement brain activity is so correlated together where it just spurs you to have this upward spiral of just wanting to do more and feeling better about yourself just in general. I think it's so incredibly important.
AJ, you hit the nail on the head because, we see a video, we see some, and oh, I'm going to do that. And next thing we do, we pull a muscle, or we always think of the physical activity. And I was a cardiovascular thing. I'd be on the exercise bike for 20 minutes. And I said, no, I'm going to do an hour. So we tend to overdo it in the beginning.
Yeah.
We need the mental aspect. What is the purpose? And too many of us have this short-term goal. Oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I want to do it as fast as possible. Oh, I'll take this diet for a month. No. We, as GLP users, we're making a lifestyle change. It's not going to be for weeks or months or a season. This is my new lifestyle. So this is a journey, as we all call it. And it can be a wonderful journey. And there's no limit. I will never stop doing GLP, you know. I need that. I was so insulin, I was just destroyed with insulin and inflammation. So I needed that GLP hormone to balance the insulin. So I know I need that for the rest of my life. But I'll take that and control of my life instead of being on medications that are going to ruin my organs. So, but it's a mental thing. We need to readjust that diet phenomenon, that short-term view. I was overweight for 48 years. I think I could do a couple of years on being skinny and enjoying this.
I love that. That's fun. Yeah, it's true. It's more of that mental health more than anything, that mindset shift,
Yes.
more than anything. And then just making sure, I always talk about this, create that foundation of health, right? Because if our foundation's weak or not strong or broken, we won't last, right? Just like a house with bad foundation or whatever, right? So that foundation of mindset and how we talk to ourselves and our mindfulness, right? Making sure we are setting ourselves up for success with our priorities that we have in place, right? And how we manage our sleep and our technology and all of those things. If we need to create that foundation of health, and that's what I try to talk most about here, including this amazing medication, but it's so incredibly important.
I see in the comments, which I'm finally paying attention to, Cece brings out a really good point.
Go ahead and read it out loud if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Cece says younger folks don't really talk about the bone, brain, and digestive benefits important to older folks. So me, and I guess as Cece points out, when you're older, you can look back and you can compare what was the focus. And if you ever see these videos of these health gurus, they're all 20 or 30. They're built like athletes, professional. But this is a typical mindset of a younger generation, 20s and 30s. They're still healthy. Their body is working fine. They could do a cheat week and never suffer because they're young. They could go. When you're older and you have osteoporosis, you have weakness in the joints because you're losing cartilage, collagen. And these are the times when you realize, I can't do it on my own. My body is not producing what I need. That's when we need supplementation. That's when we need to really be careful as we do exercise. Not just, oh, I'm going to be like the Hulk and I'm going to do. No.
Yeah.
So each decade, as we grow older, demands a different approach to how we work on our body and our health. So, as an older person, I bring that comparison chart of when I was 20 years old, and I see this. I love guys who could do mountain climbing. I would never do that. I think not so, but for the younger generation, it's wonderful. And I've never seen anybody so perfectly aligned with their body and their abilities. You see weight trainers and they look like Hulk, but they could probably not even touch their toes. They're all bulked up. They are limited and they don't use the most important thing to exercise is the brain. It's the mental aspect that really makes the physical into something that can work together. And having that knowledge that I've learned here on the GLP community has really made the body easier to manipulate than if I just said, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. I did that for years, for decades. And yes, I stayed toned because of my youth. But now, as I'm older, I realize it's more knowledge and using practical, simple, at home things that keep us healthy for a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about our longevity, right? It's about being able to make sure we have enough structure in our body to keep our bones becoming more brittle and just having that muscle that we need to just carry ourselves. Because I'm not talking about looking hot. I'm talking about trying to get off the floor when I'm older.
Yes. And you know what's something? If you think about it, look at all the superstars in sports over the decades. And these are professional athletes. But you know what? They die early. They die at the same age. You don't see them living to 100. So they were gifted athletically, they were gifted body weight wise, but I guess they in the mental aspect they took it for granted. And the body, according to genetics, is going to go when it goes. So really that's where, as you pointed out, AJ, the mental aspect and the regulation along the way, we who have been overweight and have been in such bad physical shape, we understand that, hey, I have to check my blood test results. I have to be aware of this. I have to be aware of that because that's a weakness. I see it genetically now. I see my numbers are not in range. So we have decided I'm going to focus on that weakness instead of parade around the office. Look at me, check me out. That's so mundane. We really,
Superficial, yeah.
yes, that's the word, superficial. We in this community are looking at our future life with respect to our bodies instead of saying, oh, everybody, like you might as well have 10-foot mirrors in the house. Look at me, look at me. No, we're thinking, we're acting in a way that's much more sustainable. And that's what the GLP community is. It's all about sustaining and maintaining into a really healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely. I love that, Dennis. I love your positivity and your mindset around this. I love that you feel like you have so much more life to give and to live. And because it's true, the older we get, sometimes we feel down on ourselves and we feel like, oh, it's not worth it, throw in the towel, all these things. But just that mental health, that clarity that you have now, that pep in your step, the excitement for life, the grace that you're giving yourself, I think it's awesome. I love that. And who's to say you can't throw a couple balls right now with someone standing put? I don't know. I think you should get that. Who here in the chat thinks he should get his glove out? You don't have to go crazy, Dennis. Don't go crazy.
Yeah, and I have a family history of strokes. The men in my line, they pass away at 72 to 74. My dad, they were from Ireland. And when you're from a different country, you might not have the medical resources or the knowledge. We have that now. With the computer, with all A1, we're gaining more knowledge quicker from more sources. And I've tuned into some of the doctors on here that are in the obesity field. And I'm learning things daily that are saying I can break through that barrier. My dad, attempted, he got to 86. And I'm saying, I want to beat that. I want to be healthy. And I'm making changes. My sister, 1 year older, she had a massive stroke about 2 years ago. I've had many relatives have strokes, aneurysms. I got a narrow artery in the heart, in the brain. So I have some very physical genetics going against me. So I've decided I've got to be just as strong in a positive way to overcome that. And I feel with this community, I have weapons now to overcome my problems. And I was walking around that same dark path. I had myself a mini stroke about a year ago. So it's a wake up call. We have to take action. But to take action, we need knowledge. And that's why you're here. That's why I'm here.
I love that. So I love the positivity. I love your mindset. How do you help someone who may be going through the same things you are, can relate in some way, that just beats themselves up over and over? How would you tell someone, how do you help someone to kind of shift that mindset from that negative to that positive? What would you say?
Just my experience with my blood test numbers to show a comparison of where I was, you have 4 pages, and I'd say about half of it was in the red. And so I focused on each one. Triglycerides, which is a problem for most people, and one of the 3 major signs of a heart attack. You're supposed to be at 150. Mine was, the triglyceride test goes up to 1,000. I was above that. I couldn't even get a number. My doctor said there's only 2 people he's ever seen like that. His uncle, who had a heart attack 6 months later, and me. Boy, you talk about a shock. And I said, what am I doing wrong? And it turned out cold cuts. I eat subs or heroes every day.
Sign me up. I don't anymore, but oi.
Yes. So, that was my, congratulations, the weekend is here kind of thing. I never knew. There was one time I went on a bagel diet. I said, all I'm going to have today or this week is a bagel in the morning and a bagel. And I love bagel. I'm a bread fanatic. And I didn't realize I'm killing myself with that. So,
especially in New York City.
Oh, God, the bagels are unbelievable. Bialys, the Jewish foods and oh, my goodness, bread pudding. And oh, goodness. It's horrible sometimes to live in New York because you have all these ethnic groups with some really incredible homemade foods. So, oh, goodness. Now I could walk by these pastry shops. Oh, and I said, no, keep walking. I get on an elevator and somebody would have a Mickey fever bag in their hand. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not going.
Oh, Dennis, you muted yourself, or maybe you have a phone call.
Brutal living here in New York. But now I'm able to overcome that. So these are the things, the real life experiences that I can let people know, hey, did you think about this? Hey, I've been down that road. This is what I had to do to overcome it. And I've had failings. Many people in our community have had failings. But now with the community, we have somebody else saying, I've been there, I've done that, let me help you. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so amazing about our group. We're very positive minded. We overcome difficulties because we're not alone anymore.
Yeah, so someone in the chat wants to know why bread was bad for you. And that's a general statement, maybe something specific for you in general, if you don't mind.
Well, bread is carbs. Carbs is sugar. Sugar is heart attack. So those are the main things. And I still to this day love bread. I have my 2 eggs and bacon on a piece of toast. That's a must. I can't let go of that. But I used to have sandwiches every day, and I had heroes. Heroes or subs, hoagies. Those are like your bagels. One bagel was 5 pieces of bread, and I have 3 or 4 bagels a day. I'd be eating a loaf of bread every day. it never registered.
Yeah.
So, everything in a medical standpoint, I see those numbers going crazy and I didn't know why. What
Mhm.
was the trigger point that was dragging me down?
Yeah.
So, bread is one of the worst things. Anything white, anything with white flour is a red flag.
Now,
If
just
you,
to clarify, guys, Dennis has kidney disease and is diabetic. So those things also contribute to, him being able to make sure he changes those, the white breads, the white foods, that kind of stuff. Again, I like to talk about everything in moderation, obviously, and it all depends. It's very specific to everybody and their issue. But it's true. Absolutely. We have to watch out for those things as well. Keep talking, Dennis. I just wanted to clarify.
so that's the thing. Here I was, a young athletic guy, and I could eat anything and as much as I wanted until I had a desk job where I wasn't burning off those calories. I wasn't burning off those tempting, delicious foods. So a lifestyle turned into 48 years of taking in whatever I wanted, what I was used to, and what I really, really enjoy. But I wasn't getting the exercise to balance and burn it off. So, like it says, everything is a balance. If you are going to eat that kind of diet and enjoy that kind of ice cream, cakes, well, you need to burn it off. You need to balance your intake with your outtake. And I didn't do that because I was young. And I counted on being able to do that forever. But my body was changing. I went to pre-diabetic. I went to diabetic. I didn't comprehend what diabetes was when I was younger. I didn't appreciate the dangers. Then, after 30 years, all of a sudden my body could not take it anymore, I was really just taking a shovel and digging my own grave, one shovelful at a time. And it was bad news because what I took for granted, what I loved, was now killing me. So I knew as I got older, I needed to change. So I had to do drastically in order to save my life and avoid a full out stroke or heart attack. So I went too far for too long without the knowledge I needed to balance my diet. So I needed to take a crash course and go the opposite way. And I tried, but honestly, I was a little bit too far along the way. And GLP medication brought me back to the living and ability to now control myself. But I'm here to say that at an earlier age, if you're aware of the danger, especially with the American Food Association, they had that triangle, and I mean, it's all carbs. And you could handle that as a youth, especially if you're an active youth. But if you have a sit down job, if you're not getting out, when you're 20s and 30s, you're still single, you're running with the crowd, you could drink as much as you want. I never had a hangover.
Oh,
I
I
had
finished a
those,
whole bottle of Jägermeister once.
I had those Irish genes, and my grandfather owned a bar, my dad owned a bar, and I
Oh
should
my
have owned a
God.
bar.
Ah,
But, you know, things change. I
yeah.
have a closet full of nice, good whiskeys in there, but I've almost just stopped. Not because I had to, but because I said, time for a change. Now, on a special occasion, yes, I'm your party man. But like bread, which I still love, everything now is in moderation. Everything is, let me think about this. If I do have it, how much? And if I do have it, what am I going to do to offset it? So now it's a mental thing. Before I get physical into those old desires, I say, I need to balance everything. So everybody has their own balance marker. Everybody needs to decide for themselves. But the worst thing in the world is to be by yourself when you make those decisions. This community is really a team effort, and we all have our own experiences. We all have our own level of what we can tolerate. So this way, having this team, having this community really, oh, I didn't think about that, you know. And AJ is one of the forefronts. She's right on the ball, and you can see the difference just in pictures, how far we've come. And in reality, the old pictures, that might have been decades. And now we've transformed immensely, so quickly, and we appreciate the life difference it's made for. We're back to teens. I look at AJ and I say, oh my goodness, you know, if I was in high school, this is my girl, you know? But when we're young, we think like that, you know? We don't realize, we see our bodies deteriorating, but we accept ourselves even though others don't. But it's also up to ourselves to say, wait a minute, what do I want back? And I have my health back thanks to this community. And I really want to say that, I mean, we've lived with our weight, we lived with our shortcomings, our medical dangers. But now, as a group, we're coming back out of that. It's like what, osmosis?
Yeah,
You know, it's just an incredible new life.
I love that. Two last questions before we go. A non-scale victory, something that you first think about that has just changed so much for you. Can you share one with us?
One of the most historical things is when we start to do our journey, that scale is our first marker. Every day I'm looking, wow, I lost a pound. Wow, I lost a pound. My lowest weight ever, which for me was like 187. And I broke through that and I said, victory. I'm now 165. 187, oh, what a fat dude I was. Meanwhile, most of my life I was in the 240s. So now I get on the scale maybe once a month. That number doesn't mean anything anymore. My body health does. So the best markers I use, the best non-scale thing, is my clothes. I went from pushing a size 48 to 50, and it was so embarrassing. My work clothes, I'd have to order new clothes, and they'd look, oh my goodness, I've never seen anybody with clothes this big. And now I'm a 34 after being nearly a 50, and I wear my son's clothes. He's a medium. So clothes sizes are the best indication, like how far I've come. And, you know, when you're big and you have to go on an airplane and you barely squeeze into that seat, or the people next to you go, oh my God. As soon as they see you sitting down in their aisle, you could see them moaning, you know? And now I don't get that look. How many times, and Jamie Seltzer said this, he goes somewhere and he see people sneaking a picture of him because he was so big, you know? And now I don't get that look anymore. I'll walk down the street and I'm like, they're looking like, ooh, you know? So other
They're like, oh,
people.
they're looking at you, Dennis, like, oh, Dennis, there goes that. Oh,
Oh yeah. So my wife, she's upset with me losing this much weight. She says, "Oh, you're dumb. You're doing it all wrong." She and now having to get clothes, she would be like, "Oh, I could bring this in. I could tuck this." I said, "Can't do it. I need something new." And you know, so I need a new wardrobe. It's just funny. So clothes has been the biggest thrill of this journey. Wow, I could wear this. I could wear that. I don't need that. I have a wardrobe of clothes I got to get rid of. And she gets upset. Oh, because, you know, she's thinking price and I'm thinking size. Like, oh, so that to me was the number one thing. There's the difference in clothes. And to say, I can look good in clothes. Yeah.
so one last question for you. If someone is on your live with you and they don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, they may be nervous, taking this medication, they're feeling like hopeless or whatever. What is the one tip, the one set of advice that you would give someone if they're just nervous and they're wanting your help and your expertise to like help them decide what to do? What would you say?
Definitely listen to others who've been down the journey, because all of us have been humiliated.
Mhm.
All of us has been frustrated. All of us has tried sometimes for decades with no success, going to the doctor, and the doctor just shakes their head and says, "You need more medication." That's not the answer. So, my answer was the knowledge I found here on TikTok, social media. And that helped me to say, these people have been there. Not some health guru who's doing all these incredible physical jumping around and high intensity workouts. They've never been heavy like us. I want to find out knowledge from people who have been there, who
Mhm.
have done that, and have even exposed their own failures. Sometimes you're on GLP, you go up 2 or 3 pounds, you hit a plateau, and yet they don't stop. They continue on and they continue losing. So it's not just pounds. At first, of course, being so overweight, that's the number one thing. But as you continue and you see yourself getting healthier, your lifestyle that becomes long. And I got that, but here on TikTok, listening to others who've been there to get my can do too. I've always wanted to. I just didn't know or have anyone else take the lead to show me how. Just as I'm learning now to do a live on TikTok, but I'm clueless. Going to others who've been there and done that is the best measure of success. So, for anyone who is either overweight or have children who are overweight, again, thanks to the American Diet Association, you see school kids and they're 200 pounds. School kids, because that's all we've been trained to do. So now we need to train others how to take control of their lives. And it can be done. And that's the affirmative action we need. If that's what you want, if you want to break free, find people like AJ who are willing to take the lead and find joy in helping others to succeed.
Thanks, Dennis. You're very kind. Thank you for being here. Guys, if you haven't followed Dennis, click his name right here. Click it again, I think, after you do that, and you're able to follow him. So, Dennis, quickly tell us what your plan of action is here on the Tiki Talkies.
Like you, just to be an excitable, positive message bearer, and being a senior citizen, which is something I got to get used to since I'm only 20, you know.
Right.
But to let people know that there's all different generations and steps in life that we need to overcome. I'm finding out how to manage my life at 66, you know? So it's never too late to take charge of your own life, to make changes. And if you're like me, well, you might have children, you might have grandchildren who are going through this and are just being fed information by people who've never been in our situation, never walked in our shoes. And we can make a difference and help them to avoid the pitfalls that we've been through. And again, it's a very individual thing. We all act differently at different points in our lives. So we need a lot of information from a lot of different sources, young ones, old ones, people who have been chronically sick. There's all different paths that lead to the same success story. Our mission is to reach out to help those who are on the borderline. What is this GPL? What is this Ozempic? What is it, Monjero? I still don't have the names down, but I'm trying, I'm learning. And if I can learn at 66, you can as well. And we're here to help.
Love that. So, what is your schedule? Do you have a schedule where you're going to go live and chat? Do you have like a thing that you're trying to do?
I'm working that out now. I'm such a rookie that I'm thinking maybe in the evening, but also maybe one in the morning, one in the evening. So I haven't finalized, but I'm thinking just for my personal schedule, maybe about 7 in the morning and then about maybe 5 p.m. I also don't want to step on others who might have their particular time slot, but I'm on the East Coast. I'm in New York City. So if I get on at 6 in the morning, people on the West Coast are still sleeping. But maybe I've seen now people in Europe, it's middle of their day. So I guess it's really up to me as a person to decide who I could reach out to. And I love jumping in on other people's lives because, again, it gives me the opportunity to learn. So I don't have, by the end of the week, I will probably make that decision on what's my time. But this will be my first daily routine. So I'm going to say, and the funny thing, yeah, probably 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. is what
Okay.
I'm targeting
Good.
my time for.
So 7 Eastern and
Yes,
5 Eastern. Right.
thank you. I always
I love
forget
it.
the Eastern part.
That's okay. And I think it's great. And what I would suggest is just do it how you feel comfortable, right? What works for you, and you will find your people. And don't feel bad about interrupting anybody. I mean, there's so many of us here just doing our thing, and we support each other. Yes. We make sure that we are watching out for that. But if that's something that's you're able to do at that time, go for it. We're here to support you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate it. I've always wanted to make sure we had a little conversation happen, so I'm glad that you came up here, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say, because when I popped into your lives, you always have wonderful things that you're talking about, and I know people are very excited to hear from you and can learn a lot from all of us. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I think it's great. And if anybody ever feels the need to be able to express themselves here, feel free to do it, because everybody's individual, everybody's different, everybody learns different from everybody's lived experience, and it's needed to share. So thank you for doing that. Thank you, Christy. She said this was fun. Dennis.